Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Friends Sit Down. And this is your host, Landon Cox. And I'm here with
Jordyn Miller Knuckles.
And today we'll be talking about, once again, mental health struggles within college student athletes.
And the topic of sleep.
So, first, we're going to start with our promotion. Ladies and gentlemen, the men's and women's track and field team will be going to Gainesville, Florida from February the 27th to March 1st, and we'll be competing at the NAIA Nationals. Please make sure to tune into the live results, and the live stream will be posted on the USM Athletics page, and they will be streaming some of the races in the KLC throughout the next couple of days. Now, let's dive into the topic. So, Jordyn, as a student athlete, first of all, how important is sleep?
Sleep is very, very important, especially for student athletes. It's specifically important for students in general because you perform your best when you get enough sleep. But for student athletes in general, you run the risk of injuries if you're not getting enough sleep or you're not performing your best at practice. So when you do go to meets, you don't perform your highest at meets. So I'd say sleep is like one of the main important things about track.
Track, yes, all sports. Studies have shown that actually, you the like you just said, the less hours of sleep you get, the more prone you are to injury. And basically, they say the average athlete should be getting at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, really. Just so your body is fully rejuvenated, keeps you away from injuries, things like that. Uh, just in general, the average individual needs to at least get 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
But as athletes, we're pushing our bodies to the limit. We're trying to get PR, score high, run, soccer, swim. You're pushing your body to that limit to get to a certain goal. And your body's like a car. An engine needs gas to get up a hill. If you don't have the certain things to fuel your body, you can't go anywhere.
Yeah. And has there any been a time where you've experienced that where you haven't got enough sleep and then you went to practice or to a meet and were like, yeah, I definitely should have got a little more sleep?
Absolutely. And that's when it comes into how it's a mental struggle, because a certain thing is, my freshman year, I had a problem with, the temptations of, not getting enough sleep, friends are up, everybody's hanging out, it's being loud, you hear loud noises, music, you want to be up all night. We're talking about I'm up until, you know, 4 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
having an 8 a.m. Can't miss class. So I'm getting up for class, only getting like 2-3 hours of sleep, trying to make sure I get some breakfast. Then I'm sleeping a minute later, so I'm missing breakfast. Then I'm going the whole day with like 3 back-to-back classes, and then I can't even go to lunch because I'm so tired. Then by the time I get to practice, it's just lethargic, and then I'm performing bad because can't practice up to my potential, and then we're going to the meets, and basically it starts all at practice. So if you can't do well at practice, you can't perform well
Yeah, of
at
course.
a meet or a competition. And yeah, I've had times even where I performed bad at meets because I couldn't sleep the night
Yeah.
before, just struggling mentally, like I'm scared or something like that. So same thing for you. What about you?
Even now I struggle with sleep. It may be sometimes just up on my phone scrolling or anything, or it's just like I just not really tired and stuff like that. And I definitely become lethargic throughout the day, or like I'm like, oh wow, I don't really feel like going to practice. So the energy of not feeling like going to practice kind of plays into not doing very well at practice. So sleep plays a big role, especially when it comes down to class, because by the end of your practice, you were so tired before your practice. By the time you get to the end of your practice, it's like, now I'm tired. I don't want to do homework. I don't want to clean my room. I don't want to do anything like that. So stuff like that, I feel like leads into times of like, now mentally I'm kind of drained because I have so much work to get back up onto, and practice is stressing me out, but I also need more sleep, but I can't find time to sleep because, I have so much stuff to do. So it's kind of just like sleep is very important, and it's good to keep track of it because kind of once you're off track, it's hard to get back on track, especially as an athlete.
And and like I said, that's why we're talking about it as like a mental health struggle, because sleep is everything. If you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to be delirious.
Hmm.
You're going to be, not focused during class. and then you're struggling in class, you're struggling at your sport, um, you're struggling on all aspects,
Yeah.
and that could eventually mess with you, to the point where you're, it's affecting your other things to the point where it becomes a mental problem because
Yeah.
it's mentally messing with you, the fact that you're performing bad and you're doing bad, but you're not getting enough sleep. And then you're also not getting enough sleep because you're thinking about how bad you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's all hand in hand. And it really comes down to really just, shutting down those temptations and, turn the phone off. Sometimes tell your friends, hey, no, I
Yeah,
got
of
to go to
course.
sleep. Certain things like that. You just got to do what you have to do.
Yeah. What advice do you think you could give to people struggling with getting sleep at night?
Um, I would say like, kind of like small repeat, but little extra things. I tend to have an issue where like I like to listen to music while I go to sleep, or it's soothing. When I notice actually, there's some nights when I just shut my phone off and shove it under my pillow and just close my eyes. I've actually slept a lot better. Um, or just like I said, setting boundaries with friends
Mm.
or setting boundaries just within yourself. Like, hey, as after a certain time, I'm not gonna get up.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna leave my room. I'm gonna make sure people know, hey, don't come to my room after a certain time. Um, Even simple things is just like making sure I'm also on a schedule, because that's
Hmm.
the biggest thing college athletes have a problem with. If you're not on a schedule and you're up late doing homework late and trying to figure things out, all that's gonna do is turn into you, you know, getting out of schedule, out of line, and then you can just not get enough sleep just because you're up late doing homework so late and you only get a couple hours of sleep. So that does play a big factor too. Do
Hmm.
you have any advice?
I would say, like you said, kind of turning your phone off. Phones are big stimulants for people. So turning your phone off, putting it up, or just setting like time clocks on your apps, because you can do that now for them to turn off at a certain time. I also recommend reading a book because it calms like down your brain at the end of the night. Another thing would be like starting a schedule before for you to wind down before bed, like taking a shower, and you get out your shower, you maybe drink some tea or watch a show or lay down, just like keeping a nice schedule. I will also, like you said, tell your friends, like, it's certain time I have to go, setting that boundary, and also just knowing like I need to maintain these friendships, but I also need to maintain my mental health as well. And that also goes for relationships. You
Yes.
can't be on the phone all night or just like trying to stay up. You have to, and they're still going to be there, the next day. So, maintaining yourself while also your friendships, but school is important and your sleep is important and your mental health is important. So,
And ladies and gentlemen, the men's and women's basketball team have made the KCAC tournament. The men play Southwestern on February 26th at home in the Ryan Sports Center. The men follow the next day, February 27th, and play Kansas Wesleyan in Salina. In Salina, Kansas. Please make sure to watch the stream for the ladies and support, and go to the Ryan Sports Center on February 26th and come support the men's basketball team, and the Spires cheer them on as they would like to advance and fight on to get through the brackets and win conference. So, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude our podcast, this episode, we would like to, just like I said, hope you could get a better understanding of, mental health struggles with sleep. If you're a student athlete that's struggling with sleep and things like that, just hear from two student athletes and advice and, our struggle and things we go through, and see if you could understand it in a better way.
yeah, of course. And there are resources out there if you need to talk to somebody, or, if you need anybody to talk to about like, hey, like I need a better sleep regimen. You can, even there are like some not to support drugs,
Yes.
some kind of drugs like magnesium that are healthy for your body as an athlete to go to sleep. If you need that help, research is there, people are there to help you. So just maintaining that boundary with your friends and your phone, and just a good schedule to get you to sleep is good as just a student in general for anybody. So yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our second episode of Friends Sit Down. Please come back next week for the following episode. Thank you.